And this has to be it, right? This is what it's all been about. Small white flowers blossom all around you. A rubber dinghy. It's deflated. Broken. Hey. Yeah, it smells sweet and scary somehow.
An old man wearing tracksuit trousers leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours.
The deserter.
Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
Sorry for disturbing you. Goodbye. Are you the fire guy?
The what now? I can't hear you.
Did you recently tell two kids to put out their fire, two twins?
I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position.
The position sounds like a hiding place.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up.
You've retained your eyesight.
My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit.
A shudder of disgust passes his right side. His left side remains motionless.
Did you close the blast door?
I did. And you opened it. How?
Fuel the generator, use the console.
I should have burned that console down.
How did you know I was coming?
Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the water.
Oh no. Oh no, my sad FM.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
Oh god, it was not rock and roll, it was sad FM.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness. A weapon of the bourgeoisie.
I wonder if the door is actually open if you don't mention the boombox to Kim.
The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate. Hip gyrating, mental illness music.
Nice gun you got there.
It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done.
Is that a bell in my grave?
It's a 3-angong 446.
A samurai rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid.
He pats the rifle.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
The Sinyao commune.
You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk wiped from the board.
Your weapon has stayed true to you, mine has stayed true to me too.
Yes. I bet you've killed a lot of people with it. You fascist fuck.
I don't know how many people you've killed with that one bloody shot, son.
Have you come to make me one of them?
His grip on the rifle tightens.
We have come to ask you questions. Nothing more.
The lieutenant puts his hand on his holster.
If you do not comply, we will take you in. Do you understand?
Another spitball lands in the ashes. That's all the answer he gives.
The danger levels here are hard to read. One moment he's afire, the next, a fire gone out.
Sir, I need you to put down that gun so we can talk further. We're with the police. Do I want him to put it down? I want him to put it down.
The lieutenant pulls his pistol from the holster.
You are a glorified night watchman. This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
Yell at him now, loud.
Huh!
The words, "I am an enemy commander," sound cold as iron from your lungs. The old man still hugs his gun.
I finally won a 58%. I think that's 6th time of trying in a row, but I finally won a 58%.
And what rank would that be, dog?
Lieutenant, double your freighter.
A big wheel of the 4th Regiment of the Pederast Army. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
The old man lays a rifle down carelessly, then stares at it, just lying there.
Like an amputated limb in the sand.
Who are you?
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol.
It's a mouthful, isn't it?
I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
His eyes turn to the reeds again, dead and dull.
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
From the Insular Indian Citizens Militia, the Army of the Revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
Is that the only reason he's taken this? Why he took down Laley? Just because? I mean, Laley's a force for a private contracted mercenary. It's not really the kind of thing you would go in for. How long have you been here?
43 years. No. I've been on other islands too. I was in Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was on E48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago.
You've been hiding for 43 years.
43 years and 10 months.
It's the length of my entire life.
It's too long. It's not how a human being should live. But I couldn't just forget what I saw.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
He looks across the water.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41.
Always waiting.
The old man turns his eyes from the shore and back to you. What are you waiting for, old man?
For her to return.
Claude? Wait, no. 43 years, though. No. Who? What?
Her who?
Girl, child, revolution.
Girl child revolution. What are you talking about?
Always.
I'm afraid she's gone? None of these make any sense to me. What is girl child revolution? I'm afraid she's gone. I dare not dream anymore.
Good. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore. However hard I try, whatever I do.
You said you deserted your unit.
I was just 16 years old. 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too. You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took.
For what?
For reaction to take hold.
What's reaction?
Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men.
We all have a tiny bourgeois person in us trying to run away. It wasn't reaction, you were just afraid.
It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
And this was when?
The lieutenant instinctively looks to his notebook, but does not take it out.
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic. The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower,
He gestures towards it.
huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
He looks east.
A terrible shame still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
You didn't go to the map room. Okay, so when he's a kid, he signed up for the revolution, and then the bigwigs have decided, well, there's a revolution going on. Let's bomb the fuck out of Modernase and Revachol. And he freaked out and absconded.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring.
There's a beautiful sound effects. What was that?
Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
My thought that this episode was going to be one episode is probably folly, given how much this guy has to say.
Some kind of great terror. Worse than you've ever seen.
Seen what? I don't know. I've seen some spooky things.
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know that the bourgeois are not human.
Say nothing.
I had to. I had to fight it. I had to never stop.
The old man falls silent. His black eyes keep piercing your skin as he looks to some great distance behind you, shaking his head slowly, retreating from it. What is this place, this island?
It's not an island, Dwight. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender.
Alright. What was it used for?
The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world.
The landing, the retaking of Revachol.
Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone.
I'm not one of them.
Sure you are. You're RCM. Answer me. Who calls an operation against 50 million people death blow.
Coalition military.
Iblis,
Iblis.
the black-eyed angel.
Oh, okay. How have you survived all this time?
How does anyone survive? I steal.
That is also how I survive.
Now hold on there.
That's a choice. You could have become self-employed, create the system.
You're insane and grotesque. Everyone steals. Vegetables, supplies. It's the life of a dog.
He coughs once more, then puts his hand on his belly, for he is pregnant with vegetables and dogs.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
He does seem frail. Gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
Could also mean that he's surviving by stealing vegetables.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
We also have Druamine.
We have Druamine. Yep, that's rocket.
I have been running out of that stuff.
A light goes on in his eyes. He smacks his dry lips.
There's no way he could manage the pain without them. It's safe to say he is addicted to painkillers by now.
This is a serious situation. It needs to be looked over, and we can do it.
There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund.
Fantastic word. How have you coped mentally? Well, I suspect this is not going to be a positive answer.
I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of...
His eyes roll into his skull and back.
I don't even know what. Inferno?
I'll let Kim take this one. You notice the lieutenant's about to say something.
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult mentally to live in isolation.
Yeah, you've really hammered that point in the last few episodes, haven't you, Disco?
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on. More and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
He looks down at his shoes, his face parched from the sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
We still don't know, I'm surprised we're finding so much about the guy without establishing that he did indeed shoot Laylee, and why he'd shoot Laylee. How have you concealed yourself all these years?
It was hard in the tens. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequencies dead.
How did you get between here and the mainland?
At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant.
I'm Vagrant.
I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I just...
He falls silent, his gaze fixed on the shacks huddled together across the water. Why don't you just walk there?
I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
He's an old revolutionary who saw the revolution failed and just can't move on, really.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting. drinking, laughing.
The weapons cache under Songelet Doopy in the basement. Have you been there?
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right?
Damage beyond use. That's the gun we found ages ago when we were looking for the ice bear fridge.
I know.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
There's a small bunker under the Feld building. Have you stayed there?
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
Yeah, that's a little appeal to this vagrant lifestyle. Oh, I'm gonna go sleep in that bunker. Oh, I'm gonna go sleep over there. Oh, I'm gonna go sleep over there. Now, all these places are horrible, but at least you got that freedom, you know?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys.
I'd like to point out, I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying there is some aspect that's appealing. Killed themselves.
A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground.
Do you smoke Tiomotiri cigarettes?
I do.
Ever smoke them on the mainland?
They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
We're making progress, 5 out of 8. He said this is your termless surrender.
You're with the RCM. The coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. A so-called Lieutenant W. Freighter.
I know what it looks like. I have secret plans to turn the RCM into a Mazovian revolutionary unit. I am a communist, apparently. We enforce the law. That's right, we're with the good guys. We're not coalition appointed. We just try to help people. Well, we are coalition appointed, aren't we? We're with the RCM. Let's leave it at that.
Let's. You represent the Moralist International. The enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary. Le Parti Communiste dans le Monde. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
His hand shakes and he breaks into a coughing fit.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
You never signed the Revacholian Instrument of Surrender.
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive. I answer to the Communist Party.
He's an intense communist, as communists go.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
He just wipes the blood from his chin.
Understood.
I don't think you did. You live in a delusion. Radio shows, speed racing, and sporting goods. It's not real.
I mean, these things are as real as anything else. Because something is frivolous does not make it pointless. You're a communist soldier from the communist army.
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army.
You said you were trained and assigned to the Defense Corps.
Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
He's very gruff and wary and clearly a good sniper shot for someone who was just there to spread the message of communism.
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a knight philosopher of the revolution. A future human.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology.
That means you're a trained commie, right?
He nods slowly. Then another tremor.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not pushing this communist manifesto anymore. Not with this guy who's not going to believe me, and not when Kim's around.
There's nothing serious in this world.
Ooh, sheesh.
It's a farce.
What have you been using this gun for?
I've used it for killing people.
Oh, fair enough.
Here we go. A trail of blood. The lieutenant smells it too.
I mean, it's hardly subtle.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So is continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while. But
what?
this is what you live for. This is the shit.
Fair enough.
The great serotonin jackpot.
Oh, yeah.
The solution. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
Which one do I say then?
Nothing comes to you. Silence. His black eyes look at you, and in them a chill, like electricity running up your spine, crawling into your skull.
Talk to me, Shivers.
All is not as it seems.
Whew, actually shivers.
Detective.
Well, all is not as it seems. What's going on? How you killed anyone with that gun in the last week or two?
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
You are wrong all the time, suggestion. You're saying you kill people after active fighting. I'm going to go number 2. Number 1 and number 3, that's just game of fighting. Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel's security contractor, Crenell?
The who now?
Interesting. He leans in and cups his ear.
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
The corpse in ceramic armour hanging behind the whirling and rags. Did you shoot him? The fascist death squad who took a bullet in the mouth on the night of March 4th. His name was Ellis Courtenier. He was part of the security detail here in Martinez. A beautiful, strong man sent here by the honourable private military company Crenell. But we're not going to be choosing that option, I don't think. The corpse in ceramic armour hanging behind the whirling and rags.
Oh, yes. That one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
The lieutenant took a sudden step toward him.
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
I think I need to pick the gun up to get that done.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession.
I'm on it, Logic. You and me, buddy.
The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember. Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
We've done the ballistics. The shot came from this island.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. They are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. You've been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part.
It's the best uninterrupted sightline into that window in all of Martinez.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain.
Okay.
You're lost, Dwat. You're lost.
I'm gonna pick up the gun.
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire.
Because at least if I can deduce that this is the murder weapon, that's something else to pin on him, right?
The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangon, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
So as he said, it's a Triangong, fantastic word, made in Sinyao.
No one said it has to be a Belmagrave. We were just guessing.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangon, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanty Shanty. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does.
I want to go to... Is Shanty Shanty a real place? Or is that like the Wobble Gong place? She uses jacketed ammunition 4.46.
The right type and the right calibre.
Calibra. The lieutenant nods, glancing at the gun.
He's liking this.
Show the gun. Stow the gun.
The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It can be used against him later.
Right, let's talk again.
Petty bourgeois law. This is all you care about, right? The only thing in the world for you types.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Tear into him again. Pile it on him.
Show him the gun.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistols. I've seen you prance around with those. Jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen.
It wasn't my fault, the game hates me.
He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
Stop changing the subject, we have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
I'm calling it.
Good.
Sweet.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
The old man does not say more. He glances into the reeds and then twitches once more. God damn you, beauty on the wall. It's going to be the only one. I'm going to level up. I can't remember what it is I need. Why am I forgetting? I'm going to hit myself.
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
You know what's really annoying? I was going to say that when we first got onto the island and there was those white flowers leading up to the bunker. My head hurts. Oh, yes.
There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. And Maybells on Clausia's balcony.
Why would he go to the balcony, though, if he's taking the shot from here?
And nowhere else. Nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up.
Thank you, Head. Thank you.
You got it. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul. Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal.
Maybells behind the victim's window. I saw them growing here.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He seems tender suddenly. Nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, It's already here. Wash the filth away.
I haven't seen these flowers anywhere else in Martinaise. Only here.
They blossom on the islets before.
Islets.
We fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it.
South, the Bay of Martinaise is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
Bourgeois are taking a serious hit today.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may.
A young woman called Claude. Ring any bells? Flowers like these were behind her window.
Classier.
You know her, right? She had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary.
With the victim.
He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent. Then the muscles in his jaws twitch, a spasm.
Don't leave any loose ends. Get him on everything.
I wonder what brand of boots you're wearing.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the souls, please, Mr. Duras.
Fucking imbecile.
All right, calm down. The old man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of his worn-out old running shoes on his feet.
The maker is Sensorique. The model is carve, and the size is 43. These are not the unusual horizontal pattern soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the sole.
Maybe it's simpler than that. Come on, red check.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
That's what I was thinking. People change shoes. It doesn't mean you weren't there near the room the victim died in, sneaking around.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something?
The lieutenant
whoops.
gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge.
I didn't mean to click, sorry.
The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance.
I really didn't think I'd still be recording an hour and 34 minutes. I've been talking to this guy for goddamn ages.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood.
He was a rapist. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. Yeah, we're not doing that. He was a killer, but he's still under the protection of the law. That's the answer right there. He was a soldier too. He was a man. That might appeal to him more.
Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
So you shot him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble from the anger.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth.
Hot. He begins to smile.
I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
Then what?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own, and so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
The lieutenant asks after a second of silence.
Yes.
We did it, gang. No! It's so bad. It's so bad. I think I leveled up twice. I have, yeah. I'm still not going to spend it, just in case.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly, very slow, in an almost sexual manner.
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
Okay.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from.
Yeah, I still don't really know. Over there, I mean, the guy's anti-fascist and private military murderer. Yeah.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Strike the motive. Why did he do this thing? Why? Why were you looking at them that night?
I'm always looking.
He cocks his head to the side and turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes his right side, lower in intensity.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
Helps him see all the shit.
And if you don't like it?
Click.
If it's part of the shit you don't... If it's part of the shit you see...
Then you pull the trigger?
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
What specifically did you not like about what you saw on the night of the murder?
Them fucking. I didn't like that.
You were jealous? Actually, it would be envy. Actually, game. Technically, just saying.
Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself. Drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore.
Gotta say, he probably went out as happy as you can possibly go out.
And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
How long had you been watching her?
Since she came to Martinez. I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Feld building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night. Moving.
Past the Feld building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding her documents in a buoy.
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
And beautiful.
And beautiful.
That, too.
How could you see what she looked like? You said it was dark.
The sun came up. Her hair was like cobwebs. She smoked more fags and snorted a line of whatever shit she was on right there. She needed it just to move.
Or do you think she... Oh, maybe he's the one who took the documents.
Her passport and tickets to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut.
This is the hidden buoy she told us about. You looked into it?
After she was gone.
I knew she couldn't possibly know that she didn't get followed.
Did you keep what was in it? When we found the submersible, it was empty.
No. Why would I do that? I didn't need tickets to Villiers. I'd put them back. If I wanted to extort someone, I'd do better.
This implies that he's thought about extorting her.
Are you sure? There's nothing there.
Why would I need that trash? I'm not going to Villiers.
Maybe he put it back awkwardly, I guess? I don't know. Did you continue watching her after this?
I did. She had a face like an archipelago with those birthmarks, and a body hard and lean and bruised all over, black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating.
Black and yellow, black and yellow.
I could see who she was, too. A spook, on the run. Revishal's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook from the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
He's setting it up for you. The bruises, you can't make that out in a scope.
Well, no, because, I mean, we've established he was in the little spooky hidey hole, right? In the room, well, behind the room. You can see her bruises through the scope of a rifle.
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
How does he know these minute details about her body? Click, click, click. Could have changed shoes, footprints in the dust, found the peephole.
It quickly comes to you.
The bruises on her body, any chance you've seen them through a hole in a wall?
Oh, yes. Cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Masturbating.
This is weird behavior, you know that, buddy.
Everything in him fills with impossible longing, all at once.
Did you make that hole?
With a clip point knife.
Good for listening in, too. For hearing the moaning and the snorts.
Ever see her through a window on a roof?
Like that, too. Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass.
Huh. You've been through the secret route behind the whirling and rags. Those were your footprints there. You just changed your shoes.
I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny.
And that too.
Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
He points toward the whirling and rags.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
Did you have feelings for that woman?
There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know.
There have been others.
Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian to feel something.
And that's why you left the dried flowers behind her window.
No.
No? He starts to shake his head again. A sunflower on a withered stalk. Why then?
I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes.
When was this?
The day after I killed him.
And you brought her Maybells.
Yes. I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
You wanted to console her.
Maybe. I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you.
A sudden pang of rage.
If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
He wipes his eye.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods at you once more.
It's interesting because he fronted all this communist revolution kind of stuff as being important, but it's not really important in the slightest. Yeah, he may have killed Laylee and despised what Laylee was and what he stood for, but at the end of the day, it's because Laylee was with the girl that he liked, and it was simple love or lust or whatever you want to call it. The interesting thing is, you can then, I would say, draw a line between this and Harry and his inability to let go of his ex-wife and the dangers of obsession and the dangers of being so emotionally, inextricably wrapped up in one single other person. 'Twas beauty that killed the beast after all, ladies and gentlemen. In conclusion, it wasn't about him, it was about her.
Her.
He repeats, staring at the ashes, then the reeds. There's a twitch in the corner of his eye.
You hear a low-frequency hiss, barely, beneath the audible spectrum. Then it's gone.
Godly? Have I ever seen a godly before?
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement.
I have 3 skill points.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
She got away. I'm not at liberty to say. It's probably the right answer, actually.
I know she's gone. Locked up, or on the run. She kept staring into the scope, you know. In the end, this last week, at the fort. Like she knew. Like she knew I was here. It doesn't matter.
Midtown, across the Bay of Revachol, the oceanic wind washes 40-story towers. Above them, Lucerne Central Aerodrome, a cocoon suspended in the sky by a web of suspension wiring, encircled by hybrid aircraft.
Is this going to have to be a triple episode? Surely not. Surely not. Look north.
On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still, she smiles among the crowd, among the great ghosts of the city she's leaving, for another, far south. Smaller, distant, hidden, not like the great chandelier she sees sparkle in the night below her. Streetlights, towers, tenements, and water, and across it, a dark strip of ruins, barely visible, if she didn't squint her eyes. He knew she knows. She was looking at the island, figuring it out, day by day, cigarette by cigarette.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Been looking at anything else you haven't liked?
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
More specifically?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst.
How come?
Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries.
Well, he may be a murderer and a peeping Tom, but he's not a racist, so, you know, shades of grey.
Pump full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it.
This game keeps taking issue with steroids, Mr. Clark.
Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class.
Gonna let him keep talking.
Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals. Like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs.
Hey, I got rid of them for you. I wonder if he likes the crabman at all.
The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, Actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too.
I mean, he's dead as well, if it helps. I have his jacket if you want to see it.
Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Koyamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead.
Mm-hmm.
We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores...
Well, fellows, this ominous mumbling, you cannot make out a single word. How is he sexist and a murderer and misogynist and, you know, anti-everybody on the planet, but the only thing he isn't is racist? He's managed to avoid that one single negative.
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter.
I mean, I'm glad he's not a racist, don't get me wrong.
What was that about? Steroids? It piqued your interest.
Put it down, physical instrument.
There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people. Might be worth investigating.
Disco horse?
Whores.
Even that word has to be pushed through his teeth with great force. The rage seethes too hard. And the racist on the gates, pumped full of steroids.
Yes, steroids. A racist on steroids.
You mean Measurehead, right?
What is my opinion? You think the rich man has an opinion on this idiocy? Is the rich man on the radio telling you his opinion? No. The rich man's looking at real estate and fiddling his kids.
Jesus.
Wading through the corpses.
He's really hung up on that idea.
Yes, but he was there. Why was he there if you can't have an opinion?
Then why was he there?
Scratching away at the race question. You moral intern monkeys keep the conversation going on Channel 4, helping the rich man conduct his swindle with this inanity.
Ironically, Channel 4 is precisely the channel here in the UK where that kind of thing would go on.
You think the rich man cares about your little race games? He rules the whole world, and he laughs at your moral soliloquies.
There was something about the statue on the roundabout and syphilis?
Syphilis is a disease Philip III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue is an abomination.
Abomination?
The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb, and he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government, and those grotesque statues too. Hundreds of them.
Yet it's still there.
What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why?
Because you forgot to take it down, because the king is holy and his statues are indestructible, because the king is holy and his statues are indestructible, ironically, because cynical advertising yuppies erected a deconstructed version of it. I don't know. Let's go that one.
That's right. Some advertising cockroaches erected a cynical deconstruction of it. We tore it down with honest working-class plastic explosives. And there it is again.
He shakes his head in disgust. That classic tool of the working class. Plastic explosives.
Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity. Every gallery should be bulldozed, and the artists should all be given 30 years of hard labor in Yekokata.
there's a lot of things he says I don't quite agree with. You mentioned the Union is a social democrat, and Mr. Clare a farce of a social democrat.
Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
I feel like everyone is the true enemy of the proletariat at this point in time.
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the Union's top brass.
Who's a disappointment, Everard Clare?
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one.
Wait, who's this?
Edgar.
Edgar?
He talks a big game about uprising and social base. They must have sent the smart one to some university in Le Jardin, where it's alienation this and hegemony that.
Got a game called Hegemony.
First against the wall with him.
He stopped poking at the ash now, just shakes his head.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to.
Have you approached them?
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
We never met Edgar, did we?
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains.
He points to the path leading to the tower.
Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left. Wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things.
When was this?
20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
We didn't meet Edgar. No, we didn't meet Edgar.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
What did you talk about?
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzoff. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzoff. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought.
And he let you be here.
Let me be here? The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
Mr. Drost, did you kill the Crenel mercenary for the Clares to incite a riot?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them. But he's insinuating something.
Glad I ain't gone.
Okay. I need to end the video. Like, I suspect the next episode will be the short one, but it's 2 hours now. I really thought maybe I'll cut the episode into 2 and it'll be like an hour and 40 or something. This dude can talk for Britain. It's interesting stuff, don't get me wrong, and I'm really curious to just dive in deeper, but it does mean there's going to be another episode. So I'm going to cut this one in half, and then we'll do another episode. So thank you very much for joining me. Next time for what is... I'm going to stop saying it's the final episode, because I've thought it about 5 times now. The game always has a little bit more in the tank. We must be on episode near 40 by now, though. I really have stretched this playthrough out in some ways. Anywho, thank you for joining me. Cheers much as always. Bye-bye.